ladies and gentlemen, fellow bakers, students, and the teaching fraternity. Thank you very much for joining me today. And and I've traveled quite extensively, and we learnt a lot in the frozen industry in Belgium. To make it short, I have learned this thing about 10 years ago, and then tried various fermentation combinations in India to suit the Indian standards. Uh, our, our ingredients, our equipments are all different, and getting freezers to freeze and other things is quite costly affair then. So I learned the hard way, and I wanted to make it simple for you guys. And it's not as complicated as it seems to be, but it is this is the right time, as we were thinking this is the right time to start a new chapter in the bakery, and this will help you in a long way. And it will we can discuss about this. I have made some few slides, and I have understood the bakery thanks to 3F Industries. Mr. Sanjay Junjunwala gave me a uh, uh, gave me a big opportunity to travel length and breadth of India to understand the bakers. That I have traveled length and breadth of India and met from the smallest baker to the largest bakers, the chain of bakers, and understood their problems, what they are facing, and what is their necessity, and all that. So I was always thinking, in fact, for the past 10 years, I've been talking about this, and Brijesh gave me a big platform to talk about this in all the Coimbatore exhibition in Hyderabad. Thanks, Brijesh, and in fact, he's the man, and he gave me a big opportunity to talk to the bakers and tell them what I have learned. I wanted to share because our Facebook page itself says that Bakers Knowledge Sharing Forum. We are not here to teach anything. We are just here to share our knowledge with you. Generic concept, or I can say it's not a general thing saying that one solution suits all. Everybody needs, everybody needs, according to their requirement, a solution. Maybe a small home baker, maybe a chain of bakers, or maybe a hotelier, or maybe a student. So each and everyone has got different requirements. So whatever is the question, you can type in that we can start answering them. If not during this session, and we have all your emails, and we can reply back to you. So going into the subject, let me start with the. So this is a small brief about me. 40 years experience, and trained in Belgium in frozen industry, and created a lot of products for well-known chains, brands in India. And I've been supplying frozen products, processed frozen products for Cafe Coffee Day for almost 6 years, and supplied to all the branches in Chennai. So frozen technology, I have understood the concept. I have worked on it, and I have traveled length and breadth of India to meet, to understand bakers' needs. So I think this is the right time after COVID to enter into the thing. So the what is frozen technology? So frozen technology, the process is drastically bringing down the temperature from a particular temperature to -18, and then storing it. So you don't need much preservatives or harmful these things. So the temperature, playing around with the temperature, will not allow the bacteria to grow, and thereby keeping the product fresh and healthy for a long period of time, and the nutrition is not lost. Okay. Some of the world leaders who have been using the frozen technology is like Subway, KFC, Cafe Coffee Day, McDonald's, and quite a lot of people are using this technology, and they are able to have many outlets and maintain the same recipe, same product which is produced in one place, which will be which you will have which you will have a control over the product. Okay, there are four things that we divide in frozen industry. One is raw frozen, pre-fermented frozen, par-baked frozen, and fully baked frozen. Raw frozen is generally the puff sheets and masalas, the puff masalas and gravies and things like that. Pre-fermented frozen is mostly pertaining to croissant, Danish, and products like that. So par-baked frozen goes for bread and the cakes and sponge cakes and things like that. The fully baked frozen can be breads, can be other things like cakes, decorated cakes, pastries, and travel cakes or the bar cakes or whatever you call it. The dry cakes can be frozen, and the batter also can be frozen and sent to different cities or distance where it can be thawed and used it to make it freshly and then supplied to that outlet. So you can send this say 300 350 kilometers the batter itself, and they can bake it there. You can have a small setup where they will just take the molds and pipe in the required wet batter and then bake it and send it fresh from that outlet. So the life starts after baking. So this batter can be frozen even for 1 year, and all the fully frozen can be stored for 6 months comfortably without any changes. And why should you choose frozen technology? Generally, this is pertaining to the big bakers, the chain of bakers, and the housewives who has got time. One particular day they have got enough time. They can make a lot, freeze it, and keep it inside, so they can use it daily for their home baking, and they can supply to their friends and orders. So this will be helpful for any type of requirement. This can from the smallest baker to the largest baker. And sometimes what happens, the home baker or a small baker will get a baker who can work for them 1 day in a week. So he can come, the baker on his off day can go to another bakery, can whole day make the puffs or bread and other things, freeze it and keep it for the whole week. So the small shop can sell it for the whole week. So his number of employees is going to be less, commitment is going to be less, and his power and electricity is going to be saved. That is another concept. Then what is the advantages here is no wastage. Because it is frozen, the life is 6 months, there is no wastage. So when the order comes, we can heat it and give it to them, and we can process it and keep it ready. And this can be baked as and when the requirement is going to be. Suppose our business starts at 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Morning there will be a trickling out. So you can bake very less number of. You can have a small oven. You can take the frozen puff and bake it and keep five numbers, and the whole day it will travel. And at 3 o'clock onwards, you can live baking in front of the customers. So every 20, if you have a normal convection oven, every 20 minutes you can bake. Depends on the size of the oven. You can bake one batch and keep it inside the hot case. You can do it till say 7 o'clock, and then you can stop it. Whatever you have will be sold till 9 o'clock. So at the end of the day, you will not have much wastage. And second thing, I will be talking about the new equipment which has come into the market, which will be very helpful to bake in a very short time. So that is one advantage where if you have a shop and you have frozen product, you will have absolutely no wastage. And then when it is coming to the shops, when it is coming to the processing, you don't need skilled labor. You need SOPs, to SOPs to give it to them, to train them. Anybody who has done this final schooling can understand the SOPs. Those who know see the time can just have to make the burger or sandwich or the puff at a particular time, and then they can take it out. They don't have to see whether they have to, whether this is baked or not, because some products are already baked, some products are baked, has to be baked, like puff and all will be baked, say for 5 minutes and 33 seconds. They can take it out and it will be surely baked. So no skilled labor is required. Number three, no daily supplies. That is the biggest thing today. Is your the diesel and the petrol. Sorry, the diesel and the petrol prices are going high, and your transportation takes away chunk of your profit, and maintaining the vehicle and all is a big problem. So you don't need a daily supply. You can hire a cold vehicle. Now everything is available in the market. You can hire one cold vehicle or two or three, depending on your supply chain, and you can send it regularly on a, so like Sunday. Generally, they'll be free. You can call them, and from morning till evening, you can supply to all your outlets. So weekly once, if you supply, it is more than enough. In case any emergency, if your outlets are in a short distance, say about 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, you can have a vehicle, a small TVS 50, and the boxes are available, which you have to charge for about 8 to 10 hours, and it is at minus 20, and you can put the products inside and send it to them for any emergency, for any cakes or anything which needs to be transported at 18 minus 18 degrees, can go in this small vehicle. And there's a company called C Blast which is producing this kind of things. And there is no nutrition loss. That is the biggest advantage here. And the generally, if you take, there are two good preservation system in the cooking, baking industry or cooking industry. One is retard poaching, the other one is frozen. Retard poaching is also without any preservative. Absolutely, you would have seen it in the market. ITC, MTR, and there are so many other brands which says which is coming out with a lot of products, and they have said there is absolutely no preservative or chemical. So in that way, you're almost eliminating the chemicals, and there will be no nutrition loss. And in the shop, till the time you close, the products will be available. You need not to say the products are not there or anything. Can you wait for 5 minutes? I'll just thaw the product and give. You need not even say that it is. I have to thaw the product. You just leave it outside in your chiller, and it is going to be thawed. By the time they take it home, the cake will be in a normal temperature, which is good to eat, and less preservative, as I said. And in the shop, you need very minimum infrastructure for the entire operation. You don't need a big oven, and you need a freezer. You need a small oven like Menu Master or Merry Chef or Turbo Chef kind of thing. Your initial investment will be higher, but your recurring expenses will be very, very low. You'll be saving on the manpower, you'll be saving on the power, and you'll be saving much on the space. And later, when your production is increasing and you are able to franchise out, or you are able to get more orders, you can automate. Automation is the need of the hour. You have to you have to get semi-automatic or automatic machines where it is all available. If you work out the cost, it will be very, very cheap. Maybe your initial investment will be very high, but on a long run, it will save on a big numbers. We will talk about that. I'll show you some videos later in the this thing program. So now I will show you one product where the large number of production area can be used. You can see this machine. So this is the machine, Rondo machine, which makes things automatically, which pipes in the fillings. In fact, I have visited the factory, and I have given them the masalas, Indian masalas, and piped up, and they just have to change the nozzles and give. And these are all automatically done, which will be very helpful for large scale production. It can make somewhere around 3,000, 3,200 numbers per hour. So Generally, people have large numbers of production can use this machine, or you can even take orders from some of the bakers in and around your town, and they apply to them frozen, and they can keep it frozen for 6 months, and they can do the baking. So these are uh, some of the advantages in having a machine. I'm just forwarding it faster because we have got less time. And second thing is, you can see this in the YouTube also. So there are different shapes can be made, different these things can be made. It's very interesting. But anyway, you can watch this in the YouTube also. So I'll go to the next slide. Okay, this is a puff sheeter. Even a small baker can, can have this. This will totally eliminate of technical manpower which we need. We don't need a baker. We don't need a guy. We need a machine operator who has done the basic ITI course. Maybe for a very less salary, and the staff attrition will be very low when these kind of staffs are taken. Give them a good accommodation and a decent food, they'll be with you for a longer time. The baker will always be in demand, so he will pick up, he will go from place to place. But we need, this is all automatically programmed, so they will come and program it for you, the kind of thing you want, and then it works automatically. It sheets automatically. It can sheet up to 20 kilos at a time. So you can see it is done automatically without any manpower. You just switch it on, and it goes back and forth. And the big companies, fat companies, Bombay or 3F or these companies can come up with uh, sheets of paste, which will be very helpful for the baker to operate in the bakeries. So it will be a very good thing. You don't have to buy a dough presser or a margarine presser. So this is to show that the machine is very strong, and it's an unbreakable glass for programming and all that. Um, so if it is programmed properly, and you can just forget it. It works throughout the year, 24/7, and you can make all these products. Like you can make balloon case, you can make palmiers, you can do whatever you want, and the cutting blades also can be added to this. This is the advantage for you, and okay, this is the cream applying machine. So if you have cakes, you once you plan this, you can also tell the other bakers to buy it from you. Make different varieties of cream, different varieties of this thing. In case a large number is required for a big brand, we can make it into different flavors and different types of creams, which can be applied into that, and it becomes very simple for you. You don't need skilled labor for this. You need only a helper. Once they understand uh, the how it works, and it is easier. You don't need a skilled labor for this. So this is some of the machines that will help you in automation. And okay, coming to the next thing, the product advantages. We have 24 hours availability, like I said, till the time you close the shop. You can give one product or other, just entry, heat it. A burger which is kept inside a ready-made burger without coleslaw or without salad, which is kept inside the freezer, and you put it in a Mary Chef or a menu master. In 33 seconds, it is hot to plus 60 degrees, and then you can serve it to them. And it works it works with the impinger, microwave, and convection model. So the heating is very fast and rapidly done. So you can give a frozen burger or a sandwich, or some a puff can be baked in about 5 minutes and 30 seconds, and uh, you can just give it to them within no time. And large orders can be taken, like you have frozen stock for 1 week. So anytime anybody comes and asks you for a small party at home, or a function at office, or some get together, if they suddenly want somewhere around 35 puffs or 40 puffs, you can bake it and give it to them. And any number of burgers or sandwiches or samosas or whatever can be heated and given to them. So uh, uh, the frozen product is always helpful in the shop, and you require only a small place to have all this. So, like if you the goodness about it is the supply chain. It is required. I mean, you have to plan your supply chain, and it is very simple to hire a chilled van where you can send a reefer vehicle or something, that it can be sent weekly once. You save a lot on your transportation. Small party orders become possible, and new bakery equipment can be utilized. So, like I said, the menu master, you take the Mary Chef or the Turbo Chef, which will be somewhere around 3 to 5 lakhs. But it really eliminates, and you can give the product very hot and in a very short time, and you will never say no to the customer. Puff masalas can be frozen. It can be frozen for a month, and you can take it and use it whenever you want. So one cook comes in a day, and you will buy bulk ingredients, bulk vegetables. It will save you some cost, and you can make it at one time, and then divide it into 1 kilo or 2 kilo as per your requirement, and you can put it in a extruded film pack, and then freeze it and keep it uh, uh, for 6 months. And whenever you want it, you can take it and put it in a puff. You just have to leave it in the fridge for about say 1.5 hours to 2 hours, and it will come to normal temperature. And you can put the masala on the puff sheets, which are kept already frozen, and you can just place it in the center, fold it, and you can make whatever shape you want, and you can supply. And B2B supplies become easier. So a small group of shops require your stocks, or the highway shops require your stocks. You can supply to them at a good cost, where they will bake it, or just thaw it and keep it in their display cabinets and sell it. So it will become like a net profit for them by buying it for you. So if this is canvassed properly, you will get a lot of B2B supplies, eliminating eliminating the manpower, in the sense skilled manpower is needed to run the shift, and to make all these roll fondant cakes, or people required cakes. Skilled manpower is required to operate all the machines. Already we are operating with the guys who are coming from North India and the other places, who has got no exposure in bakery. They learn it by experience, and this will enhance that by giving a precise product throughout the year. And the third thing is, pastries can be frozen. The ready-made pastries can be frozen, and it can be kept for 6 months with a whip topping, or use fresh cream, and you can keep it for 6 months and send it to your shops wherever it is. You can send it to your shops. And cake shop chain, you don't need a very big outlet. You don't need a very big now. After COVID, they're concentrating on takeaways. So you design your takeaways. You have so much of designs in Pinterest. You can select whatever you want, and all these things can be utilized in a small place. You can sell lot of products. More shelf life will be there. So you can send it to them once in a week, and you can you can heat it and give it. So you can in a 150 square foot shop, you can have a full-fledged cake shop. You can have all your pastries. You can have all your burger, pizza, whatever you want. You can put stuffed bun. You can put buns, breads, and you can have rusk can be sent in a normal room temperature. In the bar cakes can be sent, or you want to do some baking inside the shop in about 150 square foot. You can have these kind of equipment, and you can bake it faster and keep it into the display cabinet. Okay. These are some of the temperatures that you have to maintain, or you have to freeze it and keep it for more shelf life, like white bread, cheesecake, sweet dough, Sunday chiffon cake, or you can even bake Danish pastry and the frozen batter. You can like a tea cake or a Madeira cake or the plum cake batter can be frozen and it can be kept for a it can be sent to the different towns also in a freezer truck. And if you take, I think that this is going to be a costly affair, like uh, suppose if you take the blast freezing, and if you think the cost is more, no, it is not. If you calculate, that is, say 30 kilo blast freezer will be around 3.5 kilowatts, and if you take your weight of the puff is about 80 grams, and you divide it by 30 kilos, and if you see the cost, it takes about uh, it takes about uh, say it takes about 3.5 hours to 4 hours, and the blast freezer doesn't work continuously. Once it reaches the temperature, it cuts off, and when the temperature goes down, it switches on. In that way, if you calculate, it will be very less. Maybe it will be around 25 to 30% at the most. And if you work out the reefer truck, even if you keep 20 rupees per kilometer, when you take the whole lot of 1 ton of something you are sending, 500 kg of mixed products you are sending, when you calculate it per product, it will be very less. So it will help you in the transportation weekly once, and it will help you in preserving the product for 6 months, and you will use less of chemical. You will use only enzymes to enhance ingredient like flour and other things. So you don't have to use anything extra than what FSSA has given the norms. So you will be well within the limit, or in fact, if you work out in a larger batch, you can use less number of the weight of the chemicals, and still you are playing around with the temperature. The packing is very important. The packing for freezing, because normal polypropylene or other sheets become very brittle. So you have to use LD covers, and you will have to use co-extruded film. Like that, you have to use for different products. You will have to use different materials. That is one thing. Second thing is, if you're going to keep it for a longer time in the freezer, it is going to increase your cost. So in holding freezer, you don't have to keep a long. I mean, the heavy weights, more than 1 ton or 1.5 tons, you don't need a holding freezer, because there is quite a lot of freezers available outside the city, and they are all charging per pallet about 1 ton or 750 grams, 1,800 per month on a running weight. So sometimes you will be if you shift 7 ton or 2 ton to the cold storage, and they will be charging you over 1,800 rupees per ton. So you don't have to have a heavy cold storage where the power consumption will be high. But if you take on a longer run, you can give a lot of mixed products, a lot of new products. You have to concentrate and spend your money wisely in R&D and create new where the skilled labor, the skilled chefs, and people is necessary, where they will be creating a lot of new products, and you will be enhancing that recipe to a large scale production, and you can freeze it. So you will have your own individuality, skilled labor will not be lost, and still the machine operations and other things, you don't need a skilled labor, and your cost, recurring cost is less. And once you go on large scale production, you can go for semi-automatic machine or automatic machine. So if your initial investment is more, you can save on recurring expenses. So this is the thing that I would like to share with you. And what we say four-step framework for frozen technology. One is product development. As I said, the R&D should be very strong, where you can show your individuality, and you can make it in large numbers, and you can send it to various people, and you can also do for a larger chain. You can also do the R&D, as well as you, according to their recipe, you can make in a large scale, and then you can supply to them. Then the product should be identified. Suppose you want to make a bread or something, you want to freeze it as a dough, or you want to freeze it as a baked bread. So what happens is the product has to be developed. Suppose if you are making a baguette bread, so we call it a bread stick. That is should be symmetrical, where it is all. It has to be when it goes into the blast freezer or the IQF, it has to be symmetrical for it to freeze it. So the weight has to be calculated, the time has to be calculated, and the product has to be identified. So that is very important. Then the ingredients identification. So we need enzymes for particular products. We need, maybe fibers. We can be used. There are a lot of fibers available, like wheat fiber, oat fiber, bamboo fiber, and all these things are natural products which retains the moisture, which can be used where some moisture will be lost in the holding freezer. That can be compensated by adding this kind of this thing, and you can say that it is rich. It is rich in fiber, which is good for digestion. So that is these are the advantages. So we have to identify the ingredients and use it. Then cooling and freezing. That is another important aspect. I would like to emphasize a little more on that. So every product has got every product has got the particular way of seeing it. The cakes have to be when it is made, when it comes out, it is coming out at 93 to 95 degrees. That has to be chilled properly. The cream has to be chilled properly, and the whipped topping or the fresh cream or the creme patisserie or whatever you have, that has to be chilled properly. The temperature has to be maintained, and once you manufacture the thing, it has to be set in a what I can say, in an ante room, and then all the cake should be at a particular temperature before it goes into the IQF or the blast freezer. And the supply chain again you cannot have fluctuation in the temperature from minus 18 to say plus, and then again it is going to minus 18. It will form unnecessary crystals, ice crystals, which is bad for the product. It will show a bad look and the taste in the final product after it is thawed and heated. So that has to be carefully taken. The people they think, okay, it is going for say a few minutes or a few hours only, so we can send it at whatever temperature we want. Chilled temperature is enough. No, it has to go at minus 18, and it has to be the vehicles are calibrated. The vehicle can maintain minus 18, and so many times it can be opened. The guy who is making the refrigerated cabinet can tell you how many times it can be opened and closed. The vehicle has to be identified. The freezer cabinet should not be attached to the vehicle's motor, and it has to be attached separately to the power connection. So you can have 2 or 3 connections on the way, where it can stop for a few minutes and charge, recharge, and go. So these kind of things have to be monitored properly in the supply chain management. There are now GPS equipments where you can watch where the vehicles are going and how many minutes they have stopped and what is the temperature inside. Everything can be monitored, and there are plenty of options available in that. So these things should be the baking is a science. It is not like, you just take do whatever comes in hand and you put it. No, it has to be weighed properly. It has to be properly baked, and it has to be properly chilled and frozen, and it is properly should be supplied. This is very important in this concept that has to be maintained. Some people uh, take it for granted, and they send the products, like French fries and things like that. The product temperature goes down drastically, and then it goes into the freezer. You find in all these shops in the supermarket, it is clocked together. It is all ice formed and clocked together. That means the product has come down in the temperature, and it has come to -80. It has gone to the freezing level. So it is not good. It is not good for a product. It is not good for people who consume it. So all these things have to be care maintained. Okay, world is going towards frozen, and you can go into the frozen thing also. So the biggest irony in this frozen concept is each and everybody has got its own their own requirement. So it cannot be a generic. It cannot be a generalization where I can say that, okay, cost means it has to be like this. Baking means it has to be like this. It is not a regular bakery. It is little different. So everybody has each one has got each requirement. So it has to be discussed. It has to be understood, and which area, what kind of area. If you may be near a village, maybe a cold storage is not available, or how we can have the thing frozen, keep it for a longer time, where you can accumulate the number of products and then send it to a different place. All these things have to be discussed and understood, and each one will have a different kind of problem and different kind of solution. Okay, you can have one-on-one session with me, and you can call me. My number I'll give you in the last slide. You can call me, and you can discuss with me one-on-one, and we can understand your requirement or whatever is your problem, and we can and I'm also I'm forming a WhatsApp group where you can have, after you talk to me, you can have a exclusive access to the group. Okay, and concept has to be, like I said, the concept has to be evolved. The concept has to be, we have to understand your requirement, we have to understand your business model, and then I have to give you the solution. So for that, we can have one-to-one session, and you can call me anytime and fix up a time with me, and you can come on Zoom or Geo Meet, and we can discuss about it. So as I have got 45 minutes and 15 minutes for the question and answer session, any questions, Brijesh, you can read out the question, we can answer them. If there is any requirement, my number, it is in the slide, you can note down, geetakrishnj@gmail.com, and my number is 93807-68229. Again, 93807-68229. You can contact me, and we can have a discussion and then take a call and take it further. So thank you very much, Brijesh, giving me an opportunity to discuss. And friends, I'm telling you, this is a very good concept, and you have to understand. Once you understand this, and it will be a great boon for your business, and it will help you in a long way, where you will not have staff now, and you will require skilled staff, very less skilled staff in this concept, and you can take it to a large scale of numbers. So thank you very much, guys.
It was really interesting to go through the presentation. So can you help me to know which are the popular frozen bakery categories, especially with in India, seeing the changes happening now?
There is a market leader known as Baker Circle who's been having it for almost 21, 22 years. And they are into raw frozen and they are into cakes and desserts and everything. So all the products are possible in freezing it. So they are they are about 60 crore turnover company. And if you see the major chain like Subway and Cafe Coffee Day, all of them is using their product. Most of the product used by Cafe Coffee Day
Right.
is the frozen product. And any product, it can be cakes, it can be pastries, it can be desserts, it can be mousses or Bavarian cream or whatever cheesecakes or whatever it is can be frozen, and you can give 6 months to 9 months shelf life.
And usually, what is the price difference? So if I make it from a scratch recipe in my bakery versus
Okay.
I bring it in a frozen format. So usually, what is
Yeah.
the price differential to the end user?
It may be about 10% more than what
Okay.
you are doing in the scratch recipe. But at the end, when the shopkeeper, if he plans, it will be very advantage for him. He will not have a person coming in the morning at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock to make the puff and bake it at 8 o'clock. Though all those things will be eliminated, and he can come at say 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, bake the thing within 1 hour. The puffs will be ready, and the shop can be opened within 1 hour. So everything will be set, and everything is thawed and ready to sell within 1 hour. So he
Okay.
need not to come in the morning to make the puff or anything.
Recently, there has been various MNC brands coming in India. For example, there's a brand called Brido. So they're into Italian ciabatta and other patisserie products.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
They are into croissant, Danish,
right.
ciabatta, and all that, and that is pre-fermented frozen.
Yes,
So this can be kept outside for 10 minutes, and it can be baked. It is France, and they are using the real croissant fat. That is about 82% fat, and there they have all kinds of whatever the baker requirement. It is available in the market, so they
okay,
can make like this. Here in India, to make a croissant, we don't have a proper fat.
right, right,
Those products are good.
right. So you also said that we can also keep pastries and cakes frozen, those
Yes,
which are made from whipped cream.
yes.
So what is the process of? Should I remove it from the freezer and then thaw it and then give it to the customer, or like how? If I want to set it on the
No,
counter,
it,
yeah,
it, it depends on the size. Suppose you have a 1 kilo or a half a kilo cake, in about
yeah,
25 to 30 minutes in a display cabinet, it comes to plus 10, plus 10 to plus
okay,
8.
okay,
But what happens if suppose the customer is going a long way, say about half an hour, 45 minutes in the traffic, and he wants to take it, you can just write the name on top and give it to him. He can take it home on the way it is getting thawed. That is number one.
okay,
And you can't, suppose, in the packing and transporting, if you think that the decoration is getting damaged or something, you can make chocolate designs and curls and the format, and you
hmm,
can put it in a plastic box and send it to them in a chilled condition.
okay, okay. Fine, sir. Thank you so much.
Chef, it was wonderful session. In fact, in the concept of what you told, the acceptance level with the Indian customers is still what is like it is still has to get into the frozen thing, frozen foods. How is it like when comparing foreign countries and Indian customer viewpoint? How is it?
Okay, so now if you take the frozen French fries, the husband and wife is working, and they have to go, they come late, and they just pick up the frozen food, and the concept is slowly seeping in. But now the big bakeries, I have not taken permission from them, and they're one of the big bakers in town. They're coming up with take it home and bake it, cinnamon rolls, apple pie, and a lot of other products they are coming out. They are the pioneers in the bakery industry, and they are coming out with frozen bakery products. Pillsbury is coming out with frozen bakery products, and a lot of other people are coming. And I'll tell you a small example. I was working for an industrial caterers some years ago. When I used to make pasta in IT company, people used to come and ask what is this and all. When Domino's came out with pasta and they advertised in the TV media, today pasta every child knows about frozen. I mean, and the pasta. So the frozen, lot of people should come into the industry. Lot of people should start making in their own way of this frozen industry. Then people will come to know about it. Why it has not come so much into India is people still, the men doesn't know cooking. Even though the hotel, the chefs are men and the bakers are men and all that, the chefs really doesn't know what is cooking apart from this fraternity. If men, they don't know what is thawing. Thawing from the -18, they just take it and keep it outside, which is about plus 30, 35, 38. And the top layer of the product becomes to the room temperature. The inside is frozen. They take it, fry it, or they just eat it or something. Inside is frozen. So they don't understand what is thawing and what is then how to fry that or process it. This knowledge is slowly coming in. North it has picked up, and south it will take some more time. But all the bakers should come up with this kind of products. Then people will be understanding how to process it. Or about
Actually, there is a campaign going on in Tamil Nadu, in south states, preferably. People are against this concept of
there will
frozen.
Yeah,
And
there will
another,
be a campaign. There will be a campaign for everything. Maida is not good. There will be a campaign. Micro oven is not good. It's not good for health. It is going on. The trans fat, it is not good for health. The if you take this is like cell phones. We are still not using the old telephone today. The kids will not know what is the older, you just rotate the numbers and all that. So this will take some time. People can talk, but they cannot stop all these things. The trans fat is not good for health. It is all well within the limit. And what is the per capita consumption of people? Maida, maybe somebody allergic to they have disease, so they are allergic to maida, but not everybody. So the concept will come in, sir. They were the fried food, KFC. You take McDonald's. You take everything. Coke, Pepsi, for everything there is a campaign. But it is not any, you are using less preservative, you are maintaining the temperature, you are heating it before you are serving. So in which way it is bad for health, I don't know.
Okay, that's great. Okay,
Yeah.
Chef. Yeah, thanks a lot, Chef.
Thank you. Maybe some equipment supplier will say he will not sell sheeters, he will not sell ovens, big ovens, he will not be. So he will be the first person to start the campaign.
In fact, Chef, today's scenario, like looking at not only bakery industry, like other industries also, commercially they're what is it, like compromising on quality aspect, and the normal quality is reduced, something like that. Is
No,
that
sir.
so? Is that
No,
so?
sir. If you take, they will say in hotel they're putting sunamba inside the rice to cook the rice so that people will consume less. Which hotel or restaurant will do that? We are all here gathered here with almost about 1,200 people are gathered in different media, that we are all want to enhance the industry to a better level, to give us a little extra profit and to maintain the standard. Otherwise, why we are taking so much of effort to come into this forum and listen for 1 hour?
Exactly.
So people are not that bad that they have to make it unhealthy. Mr. Lawrence will throw a light on that, because he is still teaching people and he is running big bakeries. Mr. Lawrence?
See, the baking industry has seen a lot of changes and these challenges also. In earlier days, there was no fresh yeast. We were making bread only with the hops. Since 1972, if I remember, the fresh yeast came into being. When the fresh yeast came, from 18 hours to we are able to produce bread within 4 hours. That was a big revolution. At that time also, our bakers were calling, what kind of a yeast is this? This is a Saitan yeast. It will not work. Then later on they accepted it. Then the gel came, cake gel came. That is totally revolutionary baking industry, where even a person who cannot make a Genoese sponge in all-in-one method, within 15 minutes, you are able to whip up 20 kgs of very fluffy and voluminous sponge cake. So the time has come that baking industry has to adapt itself to the change. Especially patties, if you look at it, I don't know how many people are making profit out of it. To make bread, you need 6 or 7 ingredients. But if you want to make a patty, along with this, you need 14 ingredients from the masalas and vegetables and the cook and the gas and so on and so forth. But I don't think no owners are calculating. And when you are sheeting a dough, the baker can sheet in 1 kg, he can take an output of 40 puffs, or if he is angry at the Madalali, he can take only 30 puffs also. So it can be vary from 5 mm to 7 mm. So nobody is calculating how many puffs you are getting at the end of the day. You start at 2 o'clock in the morning, 7 or 8 o'clock, the products are going into the market. 2 o'clock, it is getting spoiled, customer complaint is coming. So the baking industry will slowly accept this when large company like yours or even 3F and all the margarine companies, instead of selling puff pastry margarine, can give us the sheets. If it is a 5x5 or 10x5 or A3 sheets, it will make our life very, very easy for the bakers. So it has a lot of advantage. Today we don't have manpower. Europe has accepted it. The entire America accepted it. Now in Europe, nobody is getting at 2 o'clock. All the frozen baking has come. So the time, slowly it will happen. Those people who adapt themselves, they will be the winners. Those who are going to stick to the old-fashioned way, they will be lag behind. That is my view. Thank you.
Chef, I think it was very useful program, and I think Mr. Lawrence has given a very good insight of the entire frozen. Frozen is going to be the fresh, and frozen is going to be future as well, and that's going to be the thing. And the population of India, to cater to so many people, fresh, with better quality, best quality, whatever it is, we need to adopt this. Otherwise, this kind of technologies will take us to the next level. Definitely. Otherwise, the people are going to starve in India. People are going to have stale food. We need to adopt, and that technology is a must now. We can't keep making fresh rotis or fresh chapatis for this kind of population. We need to dispense. Our food shelf life is very less. For example, roti, dal, paneer, whatever it is, shelf life is very less. And to increase shelf life, we need to go for this kind of chilled and frozen products, definitely, so that the shelf life is much prolonged and it is served fresh. And we need to have used right equipment, as Chef Geeta Krishnan has shown a lot of equipments, which is very interesting and which is mostly it is automated, and which will be very useful for making more hygienic products, and dispensing big volume numbers in a short time, like that. So that is what is need of the hour, and I think it's a very useful webinar on frozen food, and he has thrown a lot of light. And the youngsters, a lot of youngsters and bakers who are there part of this, they should try to utilize and try to use his knowledge and skill to increase their business for the betterment. This is my take on this entire webinar.
Somebody has asked a question: what type of freezing technology, this thing is available in the frozen industry? There are 3 types of this thing. One is a blast freezer, the other one is IQF, individual quick frozen, and the third one is cryogenic. Cryogenic is using nitrogen and carbon dioxide, and the IQF needs a small place, and it goes vertically up, and it will freeze the individual product. The initial expense will be high, but on a longer run, it will be very saving for a huge number of products. If you have a small one, you can go for a 2 tray or 5 tray or 10 trays or 15 trays of blast freezers, which is available in the market. And relatively, people are little new. The big companies are little new, and the technology also, they also have to learn. But it is all available in the market, and you can have, according to the requirement, you can have the blast freezer. The only few bakers so far in a large level, like I said, the Baker Circle, and if you take, if I may, one of the big chain in Bangalore, they have their own cake shop. They have about 250 cake shop. They are into frozen this thing. I mean, almost for 10 years now. And the company in Uttarakhand is almost 22 years old. And absolutely, there was no problem as such. There will be problem if they are not going to maintain the temperature at the storage level or in the supply chain management, or if they are going to, they don't have to process anything. It is all processed already. Already it is come to a final stage where they just have to heat it or thaw it and give it to the people. And if they don't, if 3 days is given, the product, even the scratch recipe, which is made fresh in the bakery, will also get spoiled within 3 days. I mean, after 3 days. So the product is as good as fresh if it is thawed and served properly and heated properly. So they have to follow the SOP, whatever is on the box. Or whoever is manufacturing this frozen product will give a SOP, and they have to follow the SOP.
Okay, I'm actually a chef based out of Goa, and I've set up a few frozen bakery plants, one in Mumbai and one in Vietnam and one in Bangkok. I'm presently completely convinced that we are in a very nascent stage in India on frozen food. I have a very small cake studio in Goa, but I do have a blast freezer, I have a blast chiller, and I really cannot function without it. With questions that I've been hearing, basically on terms of like, how does it kind of like affect texture of a product? No, it basically enhances the texture. Basically, if you just, like if for example, if you're making a sablé dough, like a cookie, to get in a proper 2 mm kind of like thickness on a cookie, what you have to actually do is basically put it through a sheeter, put it through your dough to your chiller, and then put it off onto your baking, and you get a fantastic product without, as comparable that you would do from a regular scratch recipe. Actually, my question to Chef GK was basically, I'm actually looking for cryo yeast. Yeast that will kind of like stay dormant when it's kind of like frozen. Would you have any idea in India where could I kind of like get in cryo yeast?
Not at the moment, but in future, some people are working on it, and very soon that will come out. And thanks, Mr. Bernard. That was a wonderful saying from you. It was so nice to have you on the panel, so that you are able to throw some light. Thank you very much.